I'm going to tell you something most traders don't want to hear, but the market already knows it about you. You are not losing because you're stupid. You're losing because you're too smart in the wrong moments. And Jesse Livermore understood this a century ago before screens, indicators, and social media noise polluted the mind of the modern trader. I want you to imagine this scene. The market opens, candles start moving, your heart rate subtly increases. You tell yourself you're calm, rational, disciplined, but deep down, something else is happening. A quiet urgency. A pressure to do something, to prove you're smart, to prove you're right. I'm speaking directly to you now, trader to trader, because I've been there. And Livermore was there on a scale so large, it nearly destroyed him. This story is not about tactics. It's about psychology. It's about why the smartest traders don't trade the most. They wait the longest. And why consistency has nothing to do with prediction. Comment. Hook. Before we go any further, let me ask you this. When was the last time you lost money, even though your analysis was correct? Comment below. I read every response. Jesse Livermore once said something that should be carved into every trading desk. It was never my thinking that made the big money. It was my sitting. Let that sink in. Not indicators, not news, not intelligence, patience. But patience isn't passive. It's psychological warfare against yourself. And that's where this documentary begins. Context setup. Why smart traders struggle. Here's the paradox that destroys intelligent traders. Smart people need reasons. Smart people need confirmation. Smart people overthink. And the market doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards alignment. Livermore learned this the hard way. Blowing up accounts, not because he didn't understand the market, but because he understood it too early and acted too soon. The modern trader is no different today. You have 50 indicators telling you different stories. Twitter experts calling tops and bottoms every hour. News headlines engineered to trigger emotion. Algorithms designed to exploit human impatience. And in the middle of all that noise, you, trying to be smart, trying to be right, trying to win today instead of building consistency over time. This is where most traders fail, not in the charts, but in the mind. The real question, Livermore asked. Livermore didn't ask, where is the market going? He asked, is this a time to sit or a time to strike? That distinction changes everything, because smart traders don't trade often. They trade decisively. And when they're wrong small. When they're right, they let the market do the work. Livermore called this being in harmony with the market, not fighting it, not predicting it, not forcing it, listening to it. Livermore would laugh at that. Why this matters now more than ever. In Livermore's era, information was slow. Today, information is weaponized. Every red candle feels personal. Every green candle feels like opportunity slipping away. And the modern trader develops a dangerous belief. If I'm not in the market, I'm missing out. Livermore would laugh at that. He knew that most money is made not by being in, but by waiting until the market proves itself. Consistency comes from selectivity, and selectivity requires emotional strength. The cinematic thread begins. This documentary is not about turning you into a gambler. It's about turning you into a market operator, someone who understands that losses are information. Patience is a position. Discipline is an edge. Ego is the enemy. Over the next sections, I'm going to walk you through the inner conflict that destroys smart traders, the psychological traps Livermore warned about, the rules he followed to survive and dominate, and how you can apply them today step by step. This is not hype. This is not motivation. This is market truth. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because knowing this intellectually doesn't save you. The real battle begins when the market moves against your intelligence and tests your emotions. In the next section, we're going to descend into the inner conflict, the moment when logic and fear collide, and most traders self-destruct right before consistency begins. The most dangerous moment in a trader's life is not when they're losing money, it's when they almost get it right, because that's when intelligence turns into arrogance, and confidence quietly mutates into self-destruction. Let me take you inside that moment. You're watching the chart. Your analysis makes sense. Structure aligns. Indicators confirm. News supports the bias. You feel smart, and then the market hesitates. A small pullback, a pause, a candle that doesn't do what it should. Your mind starts working overtime. It's just a retracement. Smart money is shaking out weak hands. This is where legends are made. And, without realizing it, you stop listening to the market and start listening to your ego. Jesse Livermore knew this moment intimately. This was the moment that cost him fortunes. And this is the moment that still wipes out modern traders every single day. Comment hook. Be honest with yourself for a second. Have you ever added to a losing trade just to prove you were right? Comment below. No judgment. Only truth. The market paradox that breaks smart traders. Here's the paradox. Livermore uncovered. The smarter you are, the harder it becomes to accept being wrong. Smart traders don't lack strategy, they lack emotional surrender, Livermore wrote. Men who can both be right and sit tight are uncommon. Why? Because sitting tight requires something intelligence alone cannot provide. Emotional discipline under uncertainty. The market exists in probabilities, not certainties. But the intelligent mind hates probabilities. It wants clarity, control, logic. And the market offers none of that. The inner conflict. Logic versus survival. This is where the inner conflict explodes. Your logic says, the setup is still valid. Your emotions say, I can't be wrong again. Your account says, something is wrong. And instead of stepping back, most traders double down mentally and financially. Livermore called this hope masquerading as analysis. Feels intelligent, it uses logic, it finds reasons. But hope has one fatal flaw. It ignores price, and price is the final judge. Livermore's most painful lesson. There was a period in Livermore's life when he lost millions, not because his market read was wrong, but because he refused to admit timing error. He was early, and early in trading is indistinguishable from wrong. That single realization reshaped his philosophy. He stopped asking, am I right? And started asking, is the market confirming me? That shift saved him. And it's the shift most traders never make. The psychological trap. Needing to be right. Here's the trap. Your identity gets tied to your analysis. A losing trade feels like a personal attack. A stopped-out position feels like humiliation. So instead of managing risk, you manage self. Livermore warned against this exact behavior. The market does not beat them. They beat themselves. Think about that. The market doesn't care how smart you are. It doesn't reward effort. It doesn't negotiate. It simply reveals who has emotional control and who doesn't. Modern traders, same old pain. Today, the trap is worse. Because modern traders have tools that justify bad behavior. Indicators that lag but look convincing. Communities that reinforce bias. Influencers who glamorize drawdowns, leverage that magnifies mistakes, and the inner conflict becomes louder. You don't just fight the market, you fight your own thoughts. Livermore would say, if you can't control yourself, the market will do it for you, and it will do it ruthlessly. The emotional low point. Every trader hits this moment. The account is down. Confidence is cracked. You still know you're smart, but something isn't working. This is the fork in the road. One path leads to revenge trading, overtrading, the other leads to humility. Livermore chose humility. He learned to wait for confirmation, not conviction. And that brings us to the turning point. Transition to the next section. Because recognizing the inner conflict isn't enough. You need a rule, a boundary, a psychological anchor that stops you before intelligence turns into self-sabotage. In the next section, we'll uncover Livermore's core psychological rules, the one that separated consistent winners from brilliant losers. It's uncomfortable, it's counterintuitive, and it works.